Hey everyone, no respawns. Hope you're having a decent week. So this is going to be it's a bit of a different video. One, I hope I don't have to do again, but I thought it was too important a topic not for me to cover, and I've also had run-ins with this person myself, and therefore I think I can provide some extra context and maybe some great understanding of what this person's like when they think you're not looking. So many of you may be aware of a YouTuber, thankfully ex-YouTuber in fact, called Sinister, aka SH Games, who, if you subscribe to them or follow them or whatever, you may notice that if you check now, they have deleted or removed their YouTube channel, Twitter, Discord, and I imagine other social media as well. That is due to incoming allegations, which I've now dropped, of grooming and pedophilia. Now, if you are someone who have experienced these things in your life, you might not want to watch my video, and you might not want to watch any of the videos that I suggest that other people are watching, just because they might be upsetting, or if you do, just prepare yourself. And if you just don't give a shit about the whole situation, that's fine, but please, these are very, I'm saying alleged, almost confirmed, right? This Sinister Hand deleted their channel, deleted all social media because they knew these things were coming to light. Alleged, but I'm putting alleged in quotey hands here. Right, so the video in front of you now is by a YouTuber called Captain Beardy, as you can see here. They have turned the comments off. It's just over 7 minutes. It's called The Reason SH Games Deleted His YouTube Channel. I'm going to put a link to it in the description. I want you to go off and watch it. Either watch it afterward if you want, but ideally pause and just go watch it now. It's really graphic. Beardy is clearly uncomfortable, but taking it very seriously when reading the messages he has to read, and there are pictures as well. It's pretty gross stuff, and it involves someone who is a minor, and Sinister Hand is close to my age, and I'm in my 30s. I think he probably is in his 30s now, if not has just turned 30. So it's a pretty horrific story. The thing with Sinister Hand is, I've had run into them in the past, and if you ask any other content creator in the Fallout 76 and Fallout circles, most of them have had run-ins with him too. He is infamous if you are a creator, to the point where he doesn't have many other creators left who stand by him. The only ones are people who either have never had a bad interaction with him, ergo don't give a shit about the various serious allegations and the various allegations he's had in the past, or they're actually mates with him, and either their motivations are their own, but I would recommend to those people, if they want to be trusted ever again, to maybe apologise publicly. But anyway, so everyone's sort of had an interaction with him in the past, and he's just quite a bipolar guy. He's a raging narcissist. He's massively bipolar and a complete sociopath. The running theme, and you'll see when I go to, because I've kept receipts with my interactions with Sinister Hand, but the kind of recurring theme is a person who snaps without, just completely impulsively snaps at people, doesn't understand the concept of empathy, so can't envision themselves ever doing anything wrong, and only cares about themselves. It's actually quite horrific. So I'm gonna, before I get into my experiences, there are 2 other videos I would recommend you watching, and the reason being is these sort of are the beginnings of my first interactions, kind of the accusations towards Sinister Hand, but also just they provide a lot of context. And when you watch, I'd recommend watching Beardy's video first, but then watching these videos, then knowing what he eventually does or has been doing potentially at this time is absolutely horrific. So this is the first video that really kind of, to my knowledge, called attention to it, which is by a YouTuber called Rage Chronicles, who does PvP YouTube PvP content, I believe. And as you can see, SH Games Exposed. If you just Google that, this will be one of the first videos that came up. When I had my interaction with Sinister Hand, I wanted, because I'd interacted with him before, but I wasn't too familiar with him, so I googled SH Games, and the first thing that came up was a suggested thing was Exposed. It's like, okay, something's up here, and it was quite the rabbit hole. So this one is a bit more, I would say benign, but basically in this video, Rage doesn't actually call him out by his name, and is trying to not necessarily call attention to who this YouTuber is. You may notice as a lot of these videos will all have big dislike ratios. That's because, unfortunately, Sinister Hand has always managed to have just enough deniability that enough of his extremely naive and fucking stupid fans have just lapped up what his very weak excuses for what he did. But anyway, in this instance, this is before the I think this is during the grooming as well. But he also sexually harassed, stalked, and eventually drove off YouTube this creator called Nuka-Cola Riley. I recommend watching her video as well because, again, with the context, I think she's also done she has done a response to Beardy's video as well. But with the whole context, it's like, how did no one see this? It still staggers me in the fact that no one saw this. You'll see in some of the replies to here, people saying, oh no, he proved his innocence. His innocence, basically, he harassed her, sent her dick pics even after they'd broken up, would send her, like, some of the messages were like, just really sexually aggressive stuff that she was asking him to stop. He stalked her across YouTube. I think it was at off Discord. I think it was actually in Rage's Discord where they had a giant, massive, like, can you please fucking leave me alone situation. And it's quite a horrific situation, even in regards to her, and that's bad. The grooming's obviously, ostensibly, I guess if you rate, worse, but this is still horrific. And when I watched this video and then read the comments of people going, because I watched his response video to it as well, and his entire reasons for doing what he was doing was, oh yeah, she was my ex, so it was allowed. Also, that's how he talks, by the way, if you've never heard his video. It's the most monotone psycho shit ever. It was like, complete, yeah, she was my ex, it's fine. I said sorry. And I think he once said, oh yeah, I hadn't eaten properly, so was a bit dizzy. And in his mind, it's fine then, that's cool. That's all right. I'm omitted from any responsibility. Bear in mind that, this is her a farewell to my channel video because she was so mercilessly harassed by his fans, him and his friends. And she goes in the description of, like, the mocking, because she has kids and, like, going after, mocking her kids. And he's just a horrific person overall. And again, ask any creator. Some of them hopefully will comment on this channel, on this video with their own experiences. I don't want to address anyone else outside of these three plus myself, but everyone's had a story of him just being, and Nuka-Cola Riley was the more infamous one. Anyway, so that's the three videos. So let me describe my interactions with Sinister Hand. So first, I'm going to show you the interactions with him before my little drama with him. It says pre-drama. I've got pictures prepared. I do actually have another folder with, like, about 16 pictures. Mostly they're just screen caps from the Nuka-Cola Riley video, because basically once he threatened to dox me eventually and tried to sue me, or threatened to sue me. It's quite funny actually, because he was just trying anything to get me to take my tweet down. But I decided to make receipts. These are ones I made ages ago, because he eventually blocked me on Twitter as well. But so this is what I call the pre-drama. So one thing that I've had with, I get this a lot with other creators. Often I'll get people who try to interact with me, but are very clearly getting me to just shout them out, or only want to use me for their own content, right? Like, they want me to help them. And that's my interaction with Sinister Hand. And I kind of clocked him pretty quick. So as you can see, it's like kind of, please look at my videos, yada. You may notice I didn't like a single one of his comments. I'm not going to read them out. Just kind of have a read pause if you want to read. It's replying to other tweets as well, but these are literally all the tweets he said to me before we had our little bit of our interactions. I did actually reply to that one there. I just don't think I could fit my reply in for whatever reason, but it was just, okay, cheers. But that was it. And yeah, he was an odd bloke. But anyway, those are like the banal interactions, but I never replied. You may notice never liked. And from what I now know about Sinister Hand, I think that pissed him off because he wanted to use me for his own channel. And again, as a side, one thing you'll learn with Sinister Hand, and if other content creators decide they feel they want to share their story on my comments, so if you watch the videos, one thing, especially with smaller creators, is he's a very groomy person, right? So he will do a thing where he'll do something for you and then expect something in return. Usually it might be, you've got to feature me on your channel, you've got to shout me out on your video, yada yada, and or I own your channel and you need to take my advice. And he will react very poorly if you don't do what he likes. So anyway, so that was that. I never interacted with him. And then I made a video a few months back. No, it was like literally a few months back. It was like literally October. And it was a small little tower. I think it was in near where Rose is, the giant. I always forget the names. In the Savage Divide. There it was, in the Savage Divide. A little watchtower. I like to make, back in the Fallout 4 days, I like to make those, little, like, 5-minute guard post videos, because they're fun. It gives me to see if I can make as much as I can with as little as possible. And he left what I would describe as a bit of a petty comment. Not necessarily a mean comment, just a bit of a... It was not very nice, was it? It was like, he's basically taking the piss, saying it's really simple. And I was like, that's a bit of a dickhead move. And I was pretty honest. It's like, and this does happen now and then. I was like, sometimes bigger channels, I use big in quote marks, is that, you will sometimes just leaving petty comments. They just do it. And I was a bit pissed off. I'm weirdly glad I did this, because it caused him to overplay his hand, and I got to learn about what a real person he was. And, like I even mentioned, the precisely why I stopped being involved in the building community, because of people like this, which is true, I did. I've actually, since this, been a bit more active again. Weirdly enough, because of the way I saw Sinister Hand acting around other channels, because he was technically a bit bigger than them, it prompted me to actually start reaching out with other smaller creators or equally sized creators, and start of actually kind of working with them, because I was like, right, someone needs to be there if this bigger channel starts to harass. But yeah, anyway, so you can see how I literally just went, holy shit, I discovered this several months drama with this guy, and then I link Nuka-Cola Riley's video, because it's the one that's the more concise. So he wasn't very happy about this, and this is where you begin with Sinister Hand of him. He sort of does this fake laugh, clearly panicking thing where he cannot accept he's done anything wrong, but also is trying to say anything to score a wound, but also he just basically, you are the bad person through and through. So I'll open these up. Again, I won't... Also, my name is No Respawns, written and directed by Rez Craven, because it was Halloween, and that was my very clever Halloween name. Quite good. I was quite proud of that one, I'm not going to lie. So as you can see, I'll just read it through. At first he's just like... by the way, for context, he replied several hours after I tweeted out the Riley video. And one thing about Sinister Hand, again, is that as a raging narcissist, he does read every single thing ever posted about him by another creator. And well, for example, he's definitely watching this video. So, hey, Sinister Hand, I hope you're in prison. But... yeah, so, like, he was very, very pissed off, right? So I'll scroll through the replies. I said, how is posting a comment you made on one of my videos and then posting your very public history of house rules against Twitter's terms of service? He even said things like, I'm breaking the law, and it was just a bit... He's a bit insane. And the problem is, with Sinister Hand, he's very bad at not showing how mad he is. He's a very, if there was an entry in the dictionary to show very mad online, I think he might be a contender for the picture. And you'll see in a minute, it gets really, really worse. Said, oh, mate, you're clearly laughing. You're definitely a person laughing and not unstable. Because he's absolutely batshit insane. Yeah, and I said there, it's an impressive level of narcissism, but this is react when you're called out for being toxic. Which is very true. Like, in his brain, and again, I want you to, when you hear, and you will hear other creator stories, he cannot... He's, like, completely incapable of accepting the idea that he's done anything wrong. It's always someone else's. He also uses the laugh cry emoji a lot, which is the international symbol for I'm not mad online. So, one thing, and so after my interactions, basically after this, I post one more tweet, which is this one here. Again, I'm being transparent in my interaction with him. He blocked me, you can't see. And, I just say this is a sexual predator in the 76 video. This is me in October last year, so called it. But then I do more broadly the issue, which is what I brought up earlier, which is that, a lot of the times his specific prey, I didn't know at the time his prey was also children, but his prey was other creators that he could then either use and control. And again, I want to reiterate this. Smaller creators have to be careful around people like Sinister Hand. And generally as well, because... Look, if I ever shout you out in a video, you don't owe me fuck all. You can buy me a pint if you like, if we ever meet. Sure, I'll probably buy you one anyway because I'm British and that's what we do. But you don't owe me anything, right? I don't have any control of your content. I can't tell you what to do. I especially can't tell you what to do with your body or anything like that. Sinister Hand is the complete opposite. He owns your channel, or you owe him. And he's such a malicious person that... he just can't envision it being any other way. Anyway, I tweeted this out. And these are his So this is what comes up next, right? So I can't remember the exact date. I think it was in about, it was this year, I think about either January or February. So he did eventually, I think I might have taken a picture of these tweets, but they're buried in that other folder. But basically the next day, someone did like my tweet, and then he immediately got mad again. So now, for complete transparency, because I was like, okay, already interact with him now, don't give a shit, what a twat. Every time I interact him after this, I just wanted to piss him off. Complete transparency, I just wanted to make him mad, because he could not envision that someone had called him out on his shit. However, I never once reached out to him. It was always him ranting at me. With that in mind, this is his Discord. So I didn't take a picture of this annoyingly as well, because I blocked him, because I wanted all of our interactions to be public. I didn't want him to do what when he's private, he's even worse, as you'll see in a sec. But we had interacted once before, like in this period, when he'd asked me for network advice, and I realised that after, when I take these, I just never took a picture of it. But yeah, basically we had interacted before, and he just it was about like he tried to join Curse, and they didn't accept him. Good for them. Anyway, so basically this is where he starts threatening to sue me. Yeah, like, I never posted this convo on Twitter, by the way. I sent it to a few other creators who knew about him, because I thought they'd have a good laugh at how just absolutely... Because honestly, at this point, I didn't know he was a predator. I just thought he was some pervert who had been called out and was upset about it. And he was raging. Like, I've been mentioned in some other videos as well, a drama between me and him. But he was absolutely... You say I sobered with, oh god, this is one of your insane Discord chats, isn't it? Because he is infamous for what this is. As in... And he mentions... that he's done this before. He will threaten, and it has happened with people, he will threaten them with legal action because he wants to keep all of this dirty laundry out of the public domain, because that's how he manages, or how he managed. That's if you see any like replies on the Nuka Cola Riley video, especially. I'm guessing there's some in the Rages video as well. I haven't read his comments in a long time on that video, but I remember the ones in Riley's really vividly. There are people who just like, no, he's great. And some of the replies on my team were like, what? No, you already... Like, really, people really vividly upset that I'd been so mean to their favourite YouTuber. But look how he reacts when someone doesn't good. Again, he does this weird, like... Imagine this as someone who's so narcissistic, they can't imagine they've done anything wrong, but they're clearly really fuming, and they're trying to overcompensate by overusing emojis. It's fucking weird. Man, again, like... Yeah, at this point you can see, and I know I'm fairly good at winding someone up, like, because it's just like, you're just, because he's unstable. I'm just going to scroll through them here. I will cover up, so there's some names mentioned there. I'm going to have that covered up so you can't read. Those people have actually been quite public about his treatment of them, so maybe they'll tell you, but I'm just going to leave them out. And if they decide to comment, they can. But this is him basically saying, you know, like, he forced them to delete comments and things about them. Because, yeah, he just threatens. And, like, yeah, pause if I'm going too fast, but it's just, like, at this point I'm just winding him up. Because, one, it's his very public accusations of sexual harassment and him being a dick. And, like, this one is here when he's just, like, saying that... I think he implied I was drunk somewhere, which I'm British, so I do drink a lot. And I did drink a lot during the lockdown. Not an alcoholic. I'm just British. That's our kind of default state. But yeah, he's just trying anything he can. But this was just like the kind of... And his tone and his attitude is this kind of... He's clearly very upset. He's terrible at hiding it. Like, I don't know how you manage to not hide the fact you're mad in text, but he somehow fails to do it. But also just this kind of almost panickiness. But anyway, like, after this, I blocked him on... I blocked him specifically on Discord, and I've got a video. Let me just... hide my screen a sec because I think it's on the other one. Let me just pop that off just for 2 seconds. And I'm gonna bring it. I should have left it in that folder. There we go. Because the reason why I don't want to see the folder is I've named some of the files after the creators who sent me them. It helps the organization, but I don't want those creators to... Yeah, I don't want those creators to be featured in the video unless they want to. But anyway, this is just proof that he blocked me. Because he did. Because this is where he's like claiming that I had blocked him. In actual fact, I blocked him on private channels because I wanted him to... if we're ever going to converse, I wanted it to be public, right? That was the point. So anyway, this is a video. You can see the date. This was on March 2nd this year. He blocked me. One thing that Sinister Hand does is that he'll block you and then unblock you and then block you and then block you and then block you and then block you. And it's actually... He since, after this time, because I pointed it out with another creator and he definitely read the tweet, and he since then, I think, continuously blocked me, probably using a different account to spy on me. But yeah, dude's absolutely insane. And he sent me that thing. And anyway, then about a month or two later, he contacted another YouTuber. I've blocked out a lot of the text here, and I've also removed the second half. So this is a friend of mine, who he messaged going, sorry, you can just hear that ambulance going by, give them a bit. I don't live in the ghetto, there's just a big-ass hospital not too far away. This is can I ask you, I'm going to read this one out actually. I'll ask you this before I ask it on Twitter. Can you ask my name? To remove the defamatory tweets about me, I'll have to seek legal advice. Again with the emoji. If I have to ping him on Twitter, I will address him out by his name. Seems a bit more grown up than no respawns, am I right? You know, I would expect he's a giant pussy that blocks any and every way to communicate. Again, he blocked me on Twitter, which is why I was like, no, mate, you blocked me. I haven't blocked him on Twitter. I was completely open. I muted him once when he went on his rants, but he was never blocked. There is another half to this message where he describes how he got... I'm pretty sure he had my phone number. I don't think he was brave enough, or stupid enough, to be fair, to actually call me or use it. I had to change my number, and he might have one of my old addresses. Definitely not my new one, though. But yeah, so he threatened to dox me. He does this a lot. He has doxed quite a few people, apparently. And it's one of his notorious things. He's got his little group of cronies who help disseminate them to the world. So yes... And then that was my last interaction with Sinister Hand. I had a chat with my friend about this the other day, and I was like, remember that? And they're like, yeah, what a batshit insane person. He was since blocked by that person. And yeah, he's just a very, very unhinged person. And again, I want you to understand Sinister Hand in not only the context of this just giant arsehole and how he interacted with me, but also the fact that during this time, he's also grooming and... being very predatory with an underage girl. He has sexually harassed Nuka-Cola Riley. He sent her pictures of him masturbating and then saying, was it something like, you're my slut or something like that, after she told him to go away. So that kind of level of gross shit. And also, every single content creator, like nearly all of the 76 content creators, have stories like this. Like literally, I'm not the only one. I probably have one of the more longer going ones, me and maybe one or two other people. But yeah, the guy is absolutely batshit insane. He's an alleged, sarcastic, quote your hands here, but an alleged pedophile, and I sincerely hope he gets arrested. And since his hands mentioned, I know for a fact you're probably watching this video because you're a raging narcissist who watches everything about you, plus you're probably panicking as crazy like now and panic watching all of these videos. So just to know that as a YouTuber, I know for a fact that you would have given YouTube not only your personal details to get money for your AdSense, but also when you verified your channel to have videos over 15 minutes long, you would have also given your mobile number. If that young girl hopefully does decide to go to the police, they will request your information from YouTube, mate. And as we know, with any kind of copyright or any kind of DMCA, YouTube's policy is to completely oblige what the authorities ask. So fingers crossed you go to prison. And I hope you're there for a long time and do not come back to YouTube because you are not welcome and you will be hounded out. And one other thing as well, I mentioned this a little bit, I believe I mentioned this earlier, but there are a few creators who stood by him. A lot of them, fair, did go, what the fuck? And eventually, when they realised how much of a piece of shit they was, have been very public about him. A few of them haven't. Maybe don't do that, guys. Yeah, you helped, whether you intentionally did it or not, you helped protect and defend an alleged pedophile. Maybe a public apology is a better way to go about it than either pretending it hasn't happened or maybe blocking anyone who mentions it. But anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Please go watch the Rage Chronicles video. Please go watch the Beardy video. Please go watch the Nuka-Cola Riley video. If you only have time, watch the Beardy video because that's the most recent. And A shout out to Rage Chronicles as well. He got a huge amount of abuse for that first video. No one believed him, which I just think is absolutely bullshit. And I watched his latest video of the day. He is pissed off, and justifiably so. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. This video's not going to be monetized. There's going to be no out or anything like that. Stay safe, everyone. And Sinister Hand, I hope you go to prison, you utter fucking alleged nonce. Take care, guys.